good morning or afternoon or wherever you are. Welcome. I'm Ron Brown. I'll be your host today. This is Tech for Senior. This is episode 138. It is November the 21st, and it is going to be Thanksgiving this week. Want to thank everyone for coming today. We have a big show for you today. In the show, if you're watching this today as a guest, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. If you are watching this as a YouTube replay, thank you. And if you are watching this as a short promotion on YouTube, just click the link and you'll come right to the show. The show today is about an hour long. We're going to start out with our little introduction now. And of course, we want to wish Bob Gostisha a happy birthday. We want to, he's going to do his security news update. Mike Ungerman's here with his very popular part 2 in EV cars. We're going to talk about, Bob's going to talk about online shopping and how to be secure with that. I'm going to talk about a new feature in our newsletter on YouTube channels. Hewie's going to talk about the search side panel in Chrome. And of course, Ray's going to finish it with our music segment. So we have a big show for you today. After the show, we have a question and answer period, and that'll go on for about 20 minutes till about 20 minutes past the hour. And then we have our premiere video for you today at half past the hour, and this will be on YouTube. I will be putting the link in the show notes or in the chat as we go through today, so you can click on the link. And of course, those of you who subscribe to our Saturday newsletter, our free Saturday newsletter with no ads in it, we'll of course have the link and know maybe you've had a look at it already. In the premiere video today, we're going to be talking about, I'll be talking about 5 tips for two-factor authentication, something we were just talking about. Now, Dewey is going to talk about, Dewey, of course, we were mentioning earlier, Dewey's going to talk about Roku devices or TV apps. And the reason I put this in there was for this reason. Dewey and I, back in another life in Mesa, Arizona, when we were part of our computer club, we spent a lot of time connecting in people into Roku. We hooked a lot of, or Fire Sticks, and we always recommended that people use either a Fire Stick or a Roku device rather than the app on a smart TV, because we thought they worked better and were faster and just did things better. I recently, as you all know, I've had a whole bunch of TCL TVs, and I recently bought a Amazon Fire Omni TV, which does not have a built-in Roku device in it, and it just works off the app, and it works really well. And Dewey commented on this last year and said, you know, maybe what we were saying has changed now, and maybe the apps on TVs are just better. And so he talked about this in his video, and I thought this was very appropriate. So I put that in as the second item. And of course, the third item, Huey's going to talk on that very popular talk, the Wayback Machine. And all that will be on at half past the hour. This week, of course, we want to thank everyone for coming, and also safe travels, and have a good holiday with your family, and don't shovel too much snow if you're going where the snow is going. We will have a show for you on Thursday. Just to remind everybody that our Tech for Senior Live will be a show. There'll be Ray and I, Mike Ungerman, will be on for will be on this Thursday. So there will be a show as we have always on Thursday, but it will be this Thursday. And we do appreciate it's a holiday. So, but if you're sitting around, you have nothing to do, and you're just enjoying life, we'll be there for you on this Thursday. And of course, if you miss it, we do podcast that out. So I'd like to just introduce everyone today. Hewie, you got anything to say?
Yeah, also on Thanksgiving, we are canceling the Learning Chromebooks.
Oh, right. Yeah.
For the month of November, which will also have been on Thanksgiving, but it would have been right in the middle of your dinner.
Exactly. So, yes, but we'll be having actually, and I was looking, the new OS is Chrome OS, what, 10, was it 108, 101, whatever the new one is got a whole bunch of new features. So we can do some cool stuff in December, right?
Great. Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. So we'll do that. And then, of course, I do want to, I've mentioned this before, I do want to wish Bob a very, very happy birthday today. Bob, of course, works tirelessly, as we all do, to produce Tech for Senior. He's been with us since day one. He's a great guy. We really enjoy working with Bob. He produces a lot of videos, and it's just so much fun. And he really, I think, sets the tone of the show. So now I've said all those nice things about Bob. He can't say anything because he's, of course, got laryngitis and he can't talk. So Bob, just smile. Just give us a big, there you go. Give us a big smile and let us, we love you. And we do wish you happy birthday. Okay. I hope you have a nice
happy
time.
birthday, Bob.
Hopefully you have a nice time today with Alice, and you, it's a special day for you. So please enjoy the day and just smile. Don't talk. Okay.
Fortunately, Alice is sick too. So.
Oh. I'd send you a cake, or I'd bake you some soup. I'd make you some soup, or I'd do something for you, but I can't get it to you. It's not possible. All right. So anyway, and then of course Ray Baxter's here. Ray tells me he doesn't have any snow yet, which is sort of, he lives up in the mountains there. How come you don't have any snow?
Because we don't want it right now.
Okay.
Wait till Christmas time. Busy time of the year for me with APCUG. We're getting all the renewals in. So for those of you that are part of clubs, and if you're the treasurer or one that handles the club's money, now's the time to send in your dues if you haven't already. We'd like to get it all done this year.
Great. Good reminder. Thanks, Ray. And of course, we have our special guest. Well, not really special guest, because he's sort of part of our clan, Mike Ungerman. Mike, who it was just telling me he's ordered a new EV. Do you want to tell us what one you chose? The Fisker.
See from the license plate, if you can see my background, it's a Fisker, manufactured in Austria and purchased directly from the manufacturer.
Really? That's interesting. So when do you think you'll get it?
2 years.
Really?
Hard to say. Just me and 60,000 close friends are on the waiting list.
Oh, really? Well, there you go. I'll be darned. Well, we have, I'll just let everyone know we're still slugging along, going around and looking at all the dealerships and having fun looking. So we're still the looky-loos. And I look forward, Mike, to your section today. I'm learning so much. My brother's looking for a new car as well. I was talking to him on the weekend. He said, "You're just doing all the work. I just need to talk to you once a week and you'll tell me all the stuff you've done." So I thought, I got to learn some more. I'm learning so much from this process. Anyway, thanks, Mike. And we look forward to your section today. Bob, I'm going to turn it over to you. Don't say anything. Just play the video. There you go.
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending November 18th, 2022. Over 15,000 WordPress sites compromised in malicious SEO campaign. A new malicious campaign has compromised over 15,000 WordPress websites in an attempt to redirect visitors to bogus Q&A portals. These malicious redirects appear to be designed to increase the authority of the attacker's sites for search engines. Security researcher Ben Martin said in a report published last week, calling it a clever black hat SEO trick. The search engine poisoning technique is designed to promote a handful of fake low-quality Q&A sites that share similar web building templates and are operated by the same threat actor. A notable aspect of the campaign is the ability of the hackers to modify over 100 files per website on average, an approach that contrasts dramatically from other attacks of this kind, wherein only a limited number of files are tampered with to reduce footprint and escape detection. Read more at the Hacker News. TikTok can be used as an aggressive weapon by China against the U.S., FBI Director says. FBI Director Christopher Wray reiterated the Bureau's long-standing national security concerns about Chinese-owned video app TikTok to lawmakers Tuesday and said the agency is sharing its views with officials who are weighing a deal that would allow it to keep operating in the U.S. Wray told lawmakers China's government could use the app to control millions of users' data or software and its recommendation algorithm, which determines which videos users will see next, could be used to influence operations if they so choose. Under Chinese law, Chinese companies are required to essentially, and I'm going to shorthand here, basically do whatever the Chinese government wants them to do in terms of sharing information or serving as a tool of the Chinese government, Wray told the House Homeland Security Committee. That's plenty of reason by itself to be extremely concerned. Read more at South China Morning Post. Google settles location history lawsuit with 40 states and will pay $392 million. Google has settled a privacy lawsuit with a coalition of 40 state attorneys general. Today, Google agreed to pay $391.5 million in misleading location history settings the company was running from 2014 to 2020. Google's location history settings have gotten it in trouble with several regulatory bodies. The action began after a 2018 Associated Press article pointed out that the location history checkbox didn't control all Google's location history across your entire account, and that many location tracking features lived under a second checkbox called Web and App Activity. Consumers might turn off the location history checkbox, thinking it stopped all Google location tracking, but it was only for a single Google Map feature. Google lost the case in Australia over this setting in 2021 and recently settled a separate lawsuit with Arizona for $85 million. A few other states still have pending lawsuits. Read more at Ars Technica. Iranian hackers compromised a U.S. federal agency's network via Log4Shell exploit. Iranian been blamed for compromising a U.S. federal agency by taking advantage of the Log4Shell vulnerability in an unpatched VMware Horizon server. The details, which were shared by the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, come in response to incident response efforts undertaken by the authority from mid-June through mid-July 2022. Cyber threat actors exploited the Log4Shell vulnerability in an unpatched VMware Horizon server, installed XMRig crypto mining software, moved laterally to the domain controller, compromised credentials, and then implanted ngrok reverse proxies on several hosts to maintain persistence. CISA noted. Read more at the Hacker News. FTX's new CEO says crypto exchange suffered complete failure of corporate controls. The new CEO of embattled crypto exchange, FTX, John J. Ray III, helped manage the fallout from one of the most infamous financial collapses in the last several decades, that of Enron. But in a bankruptcy court filing Thursday, Ray called the situation at FTX a failure unlike any he's seen. FTX, once the second largest cryptocurrency exchange, filed for bankruptcy on Friday after a rival exchange, Beyonce, backed out of a deal to acquire it. Former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried resigned and is said to be in the Bahamas. Read the whole story at CNET. Facebook will remove political and religious views from profiles on December 1st. Your Facebook page will say less about you in a few weeks. After an early citing by consultant Matt Navarra, Meta has confirmed that it's removing addresses interested in read sexual orientation, political views, and religion from Facebook profiles as of December 1st. The move is meant to make Facebook easier to navigate and use, a spokesman told TechCrunch. If you filled out any of these fields, you'll get a notification about the change. Read more at Engadget. Tim Cook says Apple will use chips made in America from 2024. Apple is preparing to source its chips from US and Europe manufacturers within a couple of years, as Bloomberg reports. During an internal meeting held in Germany, Apple CEO Tim Cook confirmed that the company will start buying chips made in the US from 2024. Cook said, "We've already made a decision to be buying out of a plant in Arizona, and its plant in Arizona starts up in 2024, so we've got about 2 years ahead of us on that one, maybe a little less." See more at PC Mag. Intel unveils real-time deepfake detector, claims 96% accuracy rate. On Monday, Intel introduced Fake Catcher, which says is the first real-time detector of deepfakes. That is, synthetic media in which a person in an existing image or video is replaced with someone else's likeness. Intel claims the product has a 96% accuracy rate and works by analyzing the subtle blood flow in video pixels to return results in milliseconds. Ilke Demir, senior staff's research scientist in Intel Labs, designed Fake Catcher in collaboration with Umar Siftsy from the State University of New York at Binghamton. The product uses Intel hardware and software, runs on a server and interface to a web-based platform. See VentureBeat for more. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. The holiday season is almost upon us. Here's some excellent advice on being a savvy online shopper. Read the article at the link listed, or watch my video by following the YouTube link. Did you know piano strings are high tensile steel wires? Some in the bass range are also wrapped in copper wiring. The total pulling strength over the whole set of strings inside a piano is equal to roughly 35,000 pounds. Bubblegum is pink because that was the only food dye available in the factory where it was made. Plants have ways of communicating with each other. The scent of freshly cut grass is equivalent to a cry for help. Just thought you might want to know. That wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. I know my voice hasn't really gotten any better. There's always next week. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Well, thanks, Bob. I appreciate the fact that you obviously did that in multiple takes as you did your first one section. I saw you slowly, your voice was going down, and then you popped up and did it a second one. So it was a tough one to do. So we appreciate all the work that you did. So thanks so much. Don't say a word. Keep quiet.
It's a long one too.
Don't say anything yet. Rest that voice. All right. Now here's what we've been waiting for. We are going to Mike Ungerman's part 2 in EV vehicles. I know that there will probably be some questions, but remember, we'll hold those for the question and answer period afterwards. So let's see what Mike has to say.
Hi, I'm Mike Ungerman of the Central Florida Computer Society. Today we'll continue with the second in a series on electric vehicles. In our first presentation, Dan Edmonds defined for us the 3 types of electric vehicles, or EVs: gasoline-powered hybrids, HEVs, gasoline-powered plug-in hybrids, PHEVs, and 100% battery-powered EVs, or BEVs. If you haven't viewed his excellent video, click back on the Tech for Seniors video archives. As I commented in my previous series on solar photovoltaic systems for the homeowner, the purchase of an EV is also a major expense, and with prices these days likely to be one of the most expensive acquisitions you make. It pays to be prepared for the purchase of an EV as you research the sales methods you will be encountering, whether direct from the manufacturer or with the vast majority of traditional automotive dealers. As of last year, only 22 states allow for all vehicle manufacturers to sell vehicles to customers. Another 11 states allow for only one manufacturer, Tesla, to sell vehicles, often in a limited number of locations throughout the state. When looking at the growing number of EV companies entering the market, it's clear that allowing only one manufacturer to sell vehicles directly to customers is not enough. More states need to allow people to buy EVs directly from the manufacturer. These limitations and artificial barriers will ultimately reduce customer choice, prevent certain vehicle manufacturers from entering the market, and stifle EV sales and climate goals. Luckily, several states are considering legislation that would allow for direct sales beyond just one manufacturer. A father and son team, Ray and Zach Shefska, have formed a service, Your Advocate Alliance, with a website and YouTube channel. Their videos are both entertaining and educational. We have received permission to include their content in our presentations. Here's one of several I plan on using, this one on the potential of direct-to-consumer sales becoming the EV sales model of the future.
I think this is the biggest story that we're going to talk about this year on the YAA YouTube channel, and it is all about Ford and Model E, and it is not a new vehicle that they're creating. It is a new business that they've developed.
What business might that be?
All right, so here's the deal.
Yeah.
We've been all on top of this for months now. Okay, many states have carve-out laws that allow electric vehicle companies to sell directly to consumer.
Yes.
Just the other day, literally 2 days ago from the time you're watching this video, Ford comes out and they announce, we're setting up Ford Model E. Jim Farley, who's the CEO of Ford, is also going to be the president of this new company that's under the Ford umbrella. Ford Model E is not a new vehicle, it's a new business unit that's going to be solely dedicated to selling and manufacturing electric vehicles.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Why would Ford want to do something like that? Sure, maybe you can make the case that it allows them to focus their energies and hire software engineers and not be, encumbered by the pressures of the ICE vehicles. No, it's so they can sell direct to consumer, okay? That is what I see coming here. Look at the carve-out language for all the different states that allow EV companies like Rivian and Lucid and Tesla to sell direct to consumer. You just got to not have prior franchise dealer agreements in those states. You know who doesn't have a franchise dealer agreement with anyone?
Would this be Ford's new
Ford Model E does not have any. I'm telling you, man, biggest story we're probably going to break this year.
I know you've felt this way for quite some time, that you have predicted this was going to happen. You have read the different carve-out laws and you thought, okay, the only way these big players can do it is to create separate businesses. There's 200,000 F-150 Lightning reservations through Ford dealers.
Yep.
How do you take away the EV vehicles from the Ford dealerships, from your franchise dealer body moving forward?
So here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Do you think Ford's not watching what's happening already? So for example, what I mean is with their own dealerships, they're
Yeah.
sending out, I know you don't like me talking about these stupid memos, but they're sending out memos. They're saying,
Yeah.
stop price gouging.
Yeah.
Stop bait and switching.
Yeah.
What is happening over at Kia? You can't even buy the Kia EV6 because the dealers don't even care to sell them right now. They're marking them up $20,000. So these OEMs are looking at that and
Yeah.
they're saying, okay, we don't love from the press release that
Yes.
Ford put out, it reads like this.
Yeah.
Ford Model E also will lead on creating an exciting new shopping, buying, and ownership experience for its future electric vehicle customers that includes simple, intuitive e-commerce platforms, transparent pricing, and personalized customer support from Ford ambassadors. Now, let me just flip the switch over here.
Yeah.
This is from an automotive news article that talks about carve-out laws. Massachusetts, the proposed law would allow an auto manufacturer to own or operate a dealership if it previously had no franchise agreement with the dealer in the state with no requirement that the dealer sell only electric vehicles. Fantastic. You want me to read the one from Nebraska? Would allow manufacturers to own or operate dealerships if they do not or have not had any franchises representing such manufacturers' line make of motor vehicles and only sell the line make of motor vehicles that it builds. Ford is setting up a whole new business, whole new whatever, C Corp, S Corp, LLC, whatever the sole proprietorship. I don't think that's the one.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. They're setting it up.
Yeah.
They're putting out all the fluffy language talking about how it's going to be a better buying experience.
Yes.
And they're looking at the laws that are going to be passed over the next, I'm not saying it's right now, but over the next
Yes.
5-10 years.
I get it.
And they're laying the foundation for that.
I get it. And one of the reasons that they want to do it is because, well, they want to be able to have a 10% profit margin overall. And they think with the sale of electric vehicles that they'll be able to get there if they have a dedicated business to the electric vehicle space. Well, I would agree that they can probably reach a 10% margin if they cut out the middleman. Okay. In the past, they've built the car, they know what their cost in the car is, and then they mark it up and they sell it to their dealer.
Yep.
And then the dealer has a margin built into it and then can ask for above margin. And get it.
Yep.
Then, Ford and other manufacturers have to be thinking, well, if we build it for X and our dealers have proven that we
could sell it for more,
that it could be sold at Y, well, then why aren't we just building it at X and selling it at Y ourselves, and we can dramatically increase our profit margin? So if the whole concept behind this is the pursuit of profit and profit margins, which it is for these businesses, then ultimately, yeah, it's going to make sense. And that's obviously the direction that Ford is now telling their dealer body, hey, we love you. And we love you selling our ICE vehicles, but you ain't going to be selling our electric vehicles in the future.
And that's, again, why I think this is one of the biggest stories we'll break this year, because they are the first major automaker. And they're not, to be clear,
Yes.
They're not explicitly coming out and saying, hey, dealers,
yeah,
we're looking 10 years down the line here and you're not playing a bigger role. They're not saying that. They're saying this is so we can set up a dedicated business unit,
yes,
so that we can hire the right people, have the right people run it.
Yeah.
But if you read between the lines, if you've been in this space long enough, KPMG did a survey back in December of last year.
Yes.
1,100 auto executives,
Yes,
ranging from startups to OEMs. You remember some of the stats from that?
Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to share them with
By
me.
2030, do you
Yeah.
believe the majority of new vehicle purchases will be completed online excluding test drive? 78% of respondents said yes.
Yeah.
By 2030, what proportion of new cars will be sold directly to consumers by automakers in your home market? 12% said 80 to 100% of sales will occur that way by 2030. 34% said 60 to 79%, and 28% said 40 to 59%. 23% said 20 to 39%. Everyone thinks that a proportion will be sold directly to consumers. This is a great example of that. This question: how likely are you to divest non-strategic parts of your businesses in the next several years? 11% said extremely likely, 34% said very likely, moderately likely received 30% of the votes. You know what I look at?
But 75% are either moderately, very, or extremely likely.
And you know what that says to me?
Yeah.
The question was non-strategic parts of your businesses. You know what's going to be non-strategic part of Ford's business in 2045?
ICE?
And dealers. They're seeing the opportunity to carve that path. They're not going to say it explicitly, but if you read the same headlines we read, if you do the research, you know exactly what this is.
Well, if you're a Ford dealer, you know exactly what it is as well.
And it'll be interesting to see on the buy-sell side, if people try and sell Ford dealerships, how that impacts valuations.
Oh, I would think it would impact valuations, and I would think it's going to engender a myriad of lawsuits moving forward.
And a lot of consternation between that OEM.
The one
and
thing
dealer
I know for
relationship.
sure, lawyers are gonna make more money in this space than they have in a long, long time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, so we got the article back on the Join YAA website. Justin, thank you so much for getting that up. Read the article, read the press release. We'll be keeping our fingers on the pulse of this story because I think throughout this year, and especially like between now and 2025,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of learnings about what the future of buying a car looks like.
Yes.
And again, this headline from Ford, you got to dig into it a little bit, but if you dig in, you realize, okay, this is fundamentally changing how people buy cars. That's the expectation.
That's what they're.
here.
Yeah. That's pretty much what they're saying.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, you might have been right.
We'll see. We got a couple of years to wait. All right, Pops, thanks.
Thank you.
So I want to thank Ray and Zach for their informative video on direct-to-consumer sales. Their report on Ford's announcement is available at this link. As I continue my research, I'll identify those EV manufacturers that now sell direct to the consumer, as well as those with the potential to do so in the future. In future presentations, I'll focus on how to arm yourself if you choose to purchase a new EV from a traditional automotive dealership.
Just one comment. They used the abbreviation ICE when they were referring to the Ford dealers that might want to divest. ICE stands for internal combustion engines.
Okay, thanks. Very interesting. Very interesting. We'll talk about that in the Q&A, Mike. But thanks for doing that. I hadn't heard any of that. That's really interesting. All right, Bob, are you ready to roll? Don't say a word.
Be a savvy online shopper this holiday season. Bad actors are lurking behind malicious links, fake apps, fraudulent websites, and phishing emails all over the internet. Here's how to stay safe. With the holiday shopping season starting earlier and earlier, you've probably already jumped into the world of holiday online shopping this year. But as your text messages, emails, and social media advertisements fill up with killer deals, we want to make sure you're checking off the items on your list and staying safe. That's because while the popularity of online shopping has grown exponentially in recent years, revenue from online shopping has grown by nearly $3.5 billion since 2019. So too has cybercrime. Unfortunately, bad actors are lurking behind malicious links, fake apps, fraudulent websites, and phishing emails all over the internet. But don't fear, I'm here to not only protect you from the bad guys, but also teach you how to protect yourself. Next, we'll explore 6 tips on how to be a savvy online shopper this holiday season. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get involved. Number 1, watch out for fakes. Fakes are everywhere online, and they're abundant during the holiday season. Whether it's a deal on a designer product that just seems too good to be true, or a fake website masquerading as a legitimate one so that it can steal your credit card info. 'Tis the season for fakery. With that in mind, the first thing you can do is shop trusted sites and apps only. Only download apps from official app stores, such as the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. For websites, don't click on links, say in an email, but instead, always type the URL into the address bar so you know for certain that you are on the official page. Finally, give yourself an added layer of protection by paying via a method that will cover your losses, even if the company ends up being bogus. Here's a pro tip. Almost all official sites will use HTTPS in the address bar to ensure an encrypted connection between the retailer and shopper. Number 2, 'tis the fishing season. While you're out here hunting deals, cybercriminals are fishing for you. Super good deals are an especially great bait for bad actors who are looking to steal your financial information or even your identity. With that in mind, you should automatically mistrust any deal that crosses your screen. We know we already said it. We're going to repeat it because it's so important here. Never click on links in an email. If the deal is the bait, then that link is the hook. Instead, if you see something in an email that looks enticing, type the online store's URL into a web browser yourself. If it's the real deal, it will be on the brand's home page. And if it's not, you've just avoided getting caught. Here's another pro tip. If a deal seems too good to be true, it's probably a scam. Number 3, don't store your payment info. While you're hunting through site after site, making purchases after purchase, you'll be peppered with requests to start new accounts and save your credit card information. As convenient as it might be, we strongly suggest you deny these requests, particularly during holiday shopping. This is because the more places your personal and financial information is shared, the greater the risk that it will be exposed in a data breach or stolen by cybercriminals in other ways. With that in mind, share, save, and store as little personal information as possible on the internet. Always, not just during the most popular shopping season. Pro tip, avoid paying with cash or a debit card. Use a credit card to stay safe and have recourse. Number 4, put a layer between your credit card and the scammers. Why not avoid putting in your credit card info altogether? Third-party payment services such as PayPal, Apple Pay, and Google Pay can put an extra layer of protection between you and the site you're buying from, which also provides an extra layer of protection between you and the bad guys. Here's a pro tip. These virtual payment services are available on most mobile and web-based shopping sites, making online shopping even easier and breezier during the holiday season. Number 5, keep it private. As tempting as it might be to get some online shopping done during your midday Starbucks break, you should never, ever send personal or financial information over a public Wi-Fi network. And yes, that includes any passwords used to log in to accounts. But there is one super easy way to make a public Wi-Fi network private, and that's by using a virtual private network, VPN. When you use a VPN, like the one in Avast One, you cruise the cyber highway in a stealthy car with tinted windows. A VPN is an encrypted connection that hides your IP address and keeps predators from seeing personal information to prevent them from proofing you. So your login credentials, your banking details, and your identity stay protected. The next pro tip, make sure you select your preferred country in the VPN application so the website displays the currency you want to use. Last but not least, always compare prices. Before you hit the digital checkout line, open a new tab and look up the same item in other stores to see if prices are similar. If you haven't heard of the brand before, research comparable products by leading brands to get an idea of ballpark prices. If your item is drastically lower than the others, you need to think about why there's such a drastic difference. Pro tip, this time, let's say it together. If a price looks too good to be true, it probably is. My thanks go to Emma McGowan for her excellent article, which was the inspiration for this video. You'll find her article at the link listed. Stay safe, stay secure, and have a happy holiday season. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Bob. That's good tips for the shopping season. Yes, please stay safe. The bad guys seem to proliferate around the holiday season. So good advice, Bob, and thanks for doing that. All right, those of you who saw the newsletter on Saturday will have looked at our new section. I want to just go over that today with you, and I made a little video about that. So let's have a look at that. Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Today is Saturday, and I get to have lunch with my wife, and we watch Naughty Styles. That's one of our favorite YouTube channels. Now you're wondering, Naughty Styles, what's going on here? No, it's not what you think. It's a play on words. Nauti is Naughty Styles, which is nautical. And Victoria and Rico travel the world looking at yachts and reviewing them for you. It is a great channel, and they produce a video a week, comes out on Saturday morning, and we have a great lunch watching the show. You know, there are so many interesting people on YouTube doing interesting things. You know, I spend a little too much time watching the videos. However, I do subscribe to over 400 channels. I find it so fascinating and wanted to share some of my experiences with you. At Tech for Senior, we have a newsletter, and the newsletter comes out on Tuesdays and Saturday. So I've added a new section to our Saturday newsletter that will be Ron's favorite YouTube channels. And this week, we started by having Naughty Styles as my first edition in the Saturday newsletter. To subscribe to our newsletter, you can go to www.techforsenior.com. It's free, it's ad-free, and we don't want any personal information about you. It's mostly a communication tool that we can use as Tech for Senior to communicate our agenda. And on Saturday, you'll see the agenda for our Monday show. Let me just show you what's going to happen in this section. So this is the new section in our Saturday newsletter. You'll see it says the best YouTube channels, Ron's favorites. And today we're featuring Naughty Styles. That's Nauti Styles. This is Victoria and Rico's channel about yachts. So each week you're going to find that I'm going to have a new channel on here. You'll see at the top here is the caption of their YouTube channel. So you'll see and be familiar with that when you go to their site. So that's what we're seeing here. Following below that, you'll see the channel name. Following that, you're going to see the URL. So if you look here, you'll see that this is the URL. This is actually the web link to their channel. If we click this, you'll see that we come to the Naughty Styles YouTube channel, and you'll be able to choose under videos all the videos that they have done. And this is, of course, the one that you'll find in the playlist. Now, when we come back, you're going to find one of my favorite videos from the channel. So if it's a cooking show, then you'll find one of my favorite recipes. And I'm going to put one of these in, and that's going to be right next to the one of my favorite videos link here. Just click that link, and it'll take you right to one of my favorite videos they do. And then the last one here is Ron's favorite YouTube channels. And just as Ray does with his music, and we put all the music Ray does into Ray's playlist, this is Ron's favorite YouTube channels. And I'm going to, as we review these channels over the next year, I'm going to put them all into this list. So if we click on this button now, we're going to go to my channel, and you'll see all the links there in what we call a playlist. So this is a new feature in our Saturday newsletter, and I would invite you as readers, if you have any interesting channels you follow, send them to me at this email address. And what we'll do is we'll put them in the newsletter as well. And over the next year, we're going to build up a whole set of great channels that we can spend a lot of time watching. I think that's going to be pretty cool. And even Gail is going to put in some knitting and crafting sites. So there'll be lots of selection for everyone. I'm so excited. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Remember that like and subscribe? And also, you know, with over 100 million channels, the choices are limitless. So let's have some fun with this, but you can only do that if you subscribe to our newsletter. Keep an eye on the Saturday edition. Let's have some fun. We'll see you soon. All right, so we're going to have some fun with that. And next week, I will tell you right now what it's going to be. It's going to be a cooking show one. It's Sam the Cooking Guy. We'll have him on. He has 3.3 million subscribers. He is a YouTube superstar. I'll have all the information about Sam the Cooking Guy next week. So watch the Saturday newsletter. If you don't subscribe, you won't see it. Hewie, are you ready to roll?
I certainly am. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. The side search panel in Google Chrome browser. I'm Hewie Poplock. The side search panel in the Google Chrome browser is not yet a part of the browser. You have to turn it on. It is a flag that's available if you turn it on. So let's see how to do that. In the address bar, we're going to type in Chrome://flags. Once we're in the flags, we need to search for the side search panel. We have found it. Now we have to enable it by doing the drop down and finding enabled and clicking on it. We then have to restart or relaunch our browser. As you can see, we've now enabled the side search. Let's take a look at the side search panel in Google Chrome. We just go to a website. We won't see the G in the upper left-hand corner. It is a side search panel, so you have to have done a search. So let's close this and open a new tab. And now let's do a search for Tech for Seniors and find the website. When we click on that, we now see the Google logo up here. If we click that, we see the side search panel. And what we can do is take a look at another website. Again, it has the G there. So if we close it and look at this website, we can click on the G again. It opens the same search. So we don't have to redo the search. We don't have to have an extra window open. We have our search always available as we look at different pages. Now we can also look at, if you look at the top, news, shopping, or images. So if we click at images, we will see a lot of images dealing with Tech for Seniors. Now you have to remember, you may not be able to use them because of the copyright. And so be careful when you're using any of those, but you can see that they're there. You can go back to all, and you can see all of the information. Sometimes I like to open up another tab. If you open another tab, and you'll see I right mouse clicked and it says open link in a new tab. If I open it in a new tab and then go to that tab, that G or the Google side panel is not available. I have to go back to this one here, and it's there, but it's not in the new one. What happens now if we go to another by opening a new window? Let's try that. Open in a new window. And again, we don't have the side search panel available in that window. We have to go back to the original. So that's the Google side search panel, which we've enabled. And if I don't want it anymore, I can go back and disable it as well. If I no longer want to use the side search panel, what I can do is I can go back to the flags. You'll see that the side search is here and it says enabled. I can now disable it. Tell it to relaunch. Now it's disabled and will not work. This has been the side search panel in the Google Chrome browser. I'm Hewie Poplock.
That's cool. I think I'm going to use that. That's interesting.
I had not tried it until I started to work on the video, and so I had to learn by my mistakes and then go back and work on the video.
Yeah, but I like it. I think that's going to be good. I think it's good. Ray, just before we get going, I want to say goodbye to our YouTube fans over on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for coming. We are moving now into Ray's music session. I've put the link in the chat for the for our premieres video. If you have to leave now and come back, then the link is there for you. If you want to pop over now, we have room in our Zoom meeting for you if you want to come over and participate in the Q&A. If you have any EV questions or questions on anything, we'll be happy to let you in. Otherwise, we'll see you in another week. So thank you for coming. And Ray, take it away.
All right, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to focus today on a singer I had not really heard of much before, a gentleman named Ben Rector. Now, if the present is anything like the past, starting next week, we can expect to be inundated with nonstop Christmas songs. All the streaming services will have ready-made Christmas playlists. I'll bet Sirius XM will have one or more stations devoted to this special genre. But what about the U.S. holiday coming up in 3 days? If the Thanksgiving holiday was a person, it would be easy to understand the feeling of the forgotten stepchild when it comes to songs. But the good news is that Benjamin Rector has come to the rescue. Now, as I said a moment ago, embarrassing for me to admit, but I only recently learned of this 36-year-old singer-songwriter from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who was classified as a pop rock musician with folk influence. His music career started in 2006 when he released an EP with the song Conversation. That went on to win the top prize in the John Lennon Songwriting Contest. This led to his first full album, 20 Tomorrow, the following year. Now, over the next decade, Rector continued to release new albums that were mostly successful on the Billboard charts. This led to television appearances as diverse as The Today Show. He was on Game 6 of the 2017 Stanley Cup Finals and Bachelor in Paradise. For a while, he fronted a cover band called Newly Lewis and the U's. Not Huey Lewis and the News, but Newly Lewis and the U's. And even released a greatest hits album with that band name. He continues to tour, and his website, benrectormusic.com, lists his 2023 schedule so far. So in 2020, he released the album A Ben Rector Christmas. The 7 tracks are available on Amazon as MP3 downloads for $6.93. Very reasonable, with the LP version listed as currently unavailable. So, of course, I went to my favorite website, Discogs to look to see if there was a used LP there. And sure enough, Discogs has 2 for sale. A near mint green vinyl for $600 and a slightly less quality red vinyl for $400. Don't ask me why they're so expensive, other than just like stamps and coins, it's supply and demand. I was thrilled when I learned the first track on Ben's album is titled The Thanksgiving Song. Finally, a song you may want to play when family or friends are with you this coming Thursday. And let me be the first to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Ray. That was really really great. I never heard of them before.
Yeah, they're out there. Little research, and amazing what you can find.
Yeah, amazing. Eh? Wow. And of course, we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I guess we won't see you before the turkey dinner on Thursday and all the trimmings or ham or whatever you're going to have. And certainly safe travels. And don't forget, Ray and myself and Mike Ungerman will be there on Thursday. Maybe Bob, we'll see what's happening with Bob. And Hewie's heading off to have lunch or dinner with his brother, which is great. Family time. So there will be a show on Thursday. Now, I put the link in the if you have to leave and come back, I put the link for the premiere video in the chat for you. I guess at this time we'll open it up if you have any questions. I will if you have Mike's here, Mike's here, yep, and we'll if you have any questions about what our plans are, or there's any of the parts of the show today, just put your hand up, and like Hewie has, and we will endeavor to answer your questions. Hewie, go ahead. Comment, question, what's up?
Yeah, I did want to add to my video, the side search panel in Google Chrome is available on all of the platforms that Google Chrome will run, including Macs and your mobile devices as well.
Any idea when they might put it in as the regular feature then?
No, but usually it's a month or a couple of months.
Okay.
Once it gets tested and they work out any kinks.
Yeah.
Do you think that will work on Edge and Brave and the Chromium versions?
Oh, it doesn't. No, it doesn't now. I don't know whether it will or not.
Carl, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
All right. Well, I just want to say something to Ray. I could never make Happy Thanksgiving on a pumpkin pie like it was done in that video. No way.
That's special talent.
Yeah. We'll have to, could be Sam, the cooking guy, might be able to show you how to do that. You better watch the Saturday newsletter that's coming up. Greg, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, I just want to say what an eye-opener that video was. Great job.
The handwriting's on the wall. I had heard that Buick may be the first General Motors dealership to separate out all their EVs and sell them directly to the public. We'll see who else follows suit.
So how do you get service if nobody's selling this thing to you?
I'm sure it's going to be
Mail order?
Well, that'll be one of the questions I ask of Fisker, obviously, because they're in Austria. So they're going to have franchises around the country that, they will contract with for service.
But the model
job,
for that,
thanks.
Mike, but the model, Mike, for that is really being sort of made now with Tesla, right? I mean, Tesla has a lot of people have bought Teslas, and they get them serviced as life goes on, right?
Well, they get them serviced at GM. GM does most of the Tesla servicing.
Is that right?
Yes.
And
So
service departments actually are profit centers when they're not doing warranty service. So there's money to be made no matter what they support.
Right. Interesting. Dick, go ahead.
How will you test drive one of these cars?
Online.
Right.
There are YouTube videos out now on building playlists, which I guess will go on the playlists on Saturdays as they build. And I've got one specifically for Fisker, and they've had rollouts at the various auto shows, the Los Angeles Auto Show, the Paris Auto Show. There have been some YouTube authors who have actually test driven them and done some interesting videos, reporting on how they drive and so on. They're all pre-production, but they did just start their production this month. So, it remains to be seen how they're supported and how you test drive them, if you do.
But I think, Mike, is it like with Tesla, I think they have bricks and mortar stores that are they're not sales departments. They just, you can go and have a look at the vehicle. And I think they do have physical locations, don't they? Is that not true?
In California, I don't remember which EV. I did get permission from the lady who is running the channel, but in California, there is a showroom. It's a one-off for one of the EVs that's sold directly to end users. And she did a video. She went into the showroom. She took videos of, very nice showroom. They had a couple of cars there that you could, check out. And there was one that was available for test drives.
They have a showroom here in Troy, an upscale mall for Tesla, but unless you personally drive it, I would not ever recommend buying a car without driving.
Well, you don't know how the seat feels. You don't know how the steering wheel feels in your hands, whether you can adjust it, and can you adjust it enough? There are just a bunch of things that you check when you drive a car.
Oh, absolutely. My first time with a Prius was in Phoenix. I had a conference to go to. I think the Prius had been out for about a year and a half, maybe, but I had never, other than seeing a few on the road, I had, no way to get close to it or even test drive. And Hertz had them. So I actually rented a Prius for the very first time. And all they did was hand me the key fob, no instructions, no nothing, and went out there and tried to figure out how you even start the thing and move it.
Well, it was excuse me, it was interesting this week. I went to down to the Toyota dealer and sat in a RAV4, and I sat in the RAV4 and I hit my head on the roof, and I thought, this isn't going to work, right? Like, I sit up and boom, my head hits the roof. And so then I went and I was walking around. I told the salesman, and he said, well, let's try one without a sunroof. So I went and sat in the one without a sunroof, and I had 2-inch clearance above my head. So I learned something that I wouldn't have known if I hadn't sat in the vehicle. I learned that I can't have a sunroof in a RAV4 because it takes too much room out of the headroom. So I wouldn't have known that unless I sat in the car, right?
Well, you could leave it open all the time, and then you'd have plenty of room.
Stick your head up above and drive.
Yeah, that's right. Bill, go ahead. You've got some.
Oh, I was just going to say, here in Oklahoma City, we have a Tesla. I think they refer to them as design centers, but it's a brick and mortar building, and they have vehicles there available for you to drive.
Ah, there you
and
go.
Teslas are all over Oklahoma City, which I'm really surprised to see that.
Right. Well, even in my little rural community that I live in here, it's amazing the number of Teslas you see driving around. It's quite amazing. Eh? They are selling a lot of cars.
There was a question in the chat saying that in Southern California, there are brownouts because there's not enough electricity. And in response, I took a quick look and found a reference that states that California has come out with a decree regulation. I'm not sure exactly how it's come in, regulation law, but they're terminating the sale of new internal combustion engine vehicles by 2035. So they're going to have enough charging infrastructure and electricity to support it somehow.
Yeah, and 3 days after the Governor Newsom made that announcement, he declared no large appliances used on that weekend, including Tesla's charging.
Well, there were days back in the 70s, I can remember them,
when to get gas and the gasoline shortages back then, you had license plates, and on, you know, certain days of the week, it was even license plate numbers, and certain days of the week, it was odd license plate numbers. So maybe that's how they're going to control when you charge your car.
The other thing,
But
George,
something is, I was going to say something is really driving this, because every major car manufacturer in the world is building an electric vehicle. So the handwriting is on the wall. Gasoline powered vehicles days are numbered.
right. So listen, I'll get to your question in a minute, but I wanted just to mention to Mike, I was looking at an article yesterday, and the interesting thing about it is that we all assume, and we live in our own house with a garage and we can plug in, but 65% of people that own cars park them off site. In other words, they're parking them on the front street, or they're parking them not in a attached building. So 65% of people that own cars have them on the street, or they're in condos and they're parked out. They don't have, you know, there's no easy access to charging. So there is going to be a large transformation as this occurs, because you have to be able to plug it in. And if you don't have a garage and you don't have a laneway at the back, and the only thing in your particular community is your car has to be on the street, then it's charging. It's going to be a bit of a stretch, right?
One of my presentations, depending on which chapter it is, will be on the various charging networks and their valuations.
Sure. George, go ahead.
Oh yeah, those people who are getting low on electricity, they can always drive up to Washington State and charge up on their hydro. Now, what I was going to say was that, you know, renting a car, when you're spending this amount of money on a vehicle, renting a car for a week to find out what you like and what you don't like. My best experience was renting a hatchback Corolla. And, you know, we rented it because we were moving stuff, and we rented it at the airport. And it was a really good choice to drive that car for a week and get really familiar with it, and to say, yeah, this is what I want. So I think it's almost a necessary part of your purchase.
Hertz and Avis have been bombarding me with email ads for the holidays and featuring EVs, pure EVs to rent. You get it with a full charge, and you got to return it with a full charge, or pay, you know, so much per kilowatt hour that's going to be necessary to recharge the battery.
Yeah, I don't know what, like I live in a strata, which is a condo, and we have a few spaces available. But if I wanted to use one for a week, I don't know what the rules, the bylaws would allow for that. I'll have to find out. Thank you.
But a good idea to rent a car for a week and try it. Yeah, it's a great idea, George. Thanks. Good idea. Greg, go ahead.
Hey, we live in an area where Reno is 6 hours away, 380 miles. So if we buy an electric car, we have to look to see how far the range is, so we can at least stay overnight. And then if they have these restrictions on charging, we're screwed. You know, if I want to go to the Bay Area, which is another 5 hours from Reno, we're out of charge when we get there. This is not good.
So Greg, I think Mike's going to address that in some future videos, right, Mike?
Charging networks, and if you take a look yourself on YouTube with a search like something like long trip in an EV, you're going to find 20, 30 some odd videos that have already been recorded on guys who have planned trips going east to west, north to south, you know, on 1,000-mile trips, and how they planned it. And, you know, the days of worrying about where gas stations were are long past. You know, you pretty much at every major intersection on an interstate, there's a gas station. And I'm going to say that, you know, at some time in the future, those gas stations will also be charging stations. But you've got an app on your car's panel that basically plots out all of the charging network along your way. And then you plan your trip for a half-hour stop to get recharged to 80% in 30 minutes with your fingers crossed that all the chargers are working and there are some that are unoccupied for you.
We live in an area where it's 3.5 hours to Winnemucca, California, or Nevada on Highway 80, and there's nothing but sagebrush and jackrabbits. So, you know, we're really kind of stumped on really what to do and how to do this thing. In our little town, we have downtown, the city has put in electrical charging stations. And I've talked to most of those people, and they say they have a range of about 80 to 100 miles. They bought the car just to commute with. But, you know, like I stated before, if we go to Reno and then into Bay Area, into California, where they have all these restrictions, we still have property down there and we're limited on what we can actually do. And I don't know if you can fly and rent an electric car or not. I don't know.
Yes, you can. Hertz and Avis are doing it now. I'm sure there's other following suit.
Jim Glass.
Yeah. What about, I know some of the universities have been playing with solar panels on the vehicle. So it's charged all, you know, whenever there's sunlight.
The top end Fisker comes with a sunroof. Actually, it's a 2-panel sunroof that can open and that's made up of a solar panel. And they say that you can get somewhere in the neighborhood, I don't remember what they said in terms of hours and miles, and somewhere in the neighborhood, I'm just going to pick a number and say somewhere around 3,500 miles a year worth of charge that can come off of those solar panels. But it's also their $90,000 model, which is not in my build. My build actually is literally a base entry at $37,990 before delivery and tax and so on.
Yeah, whatever happened to fuel cell and research?
Still going on. Hydrogen is especially in California. There are some hydrogen infrastructure. You can buy a Hyundai, and I'm pretty sure you can buy a Toyota now that are hydrogen powered.
And Carl, any questions or what?
Yeah, just a comment. I'm a practical electrical engineer. I have a master's in electrical engineering. And you take a 10-gallon can of gasoline and you convert the equivalent of that in an electric battery, the same size and weight. How far can you go on that battery versus over 200 miles on a 10-gallon can of gasoline? Number two is you have to replace the grid. You have to change all those transformers. It's not just wires. It takes years to rebuild a transformer. And that's under normal conditions when we have a power outage or fire or something. What's going to happen to replace all those transformers? They're not easy. They're not off the shelf. This will not work. End of my story.
Okay, the answer to both of those questions is the development of technology. And believe me, you know, at my age, I'm not going to be around to see it fully implemented. But I would liken this to back in the 50s when the interstate system was proposed. And, you know, what we were going to have limited access highways and who's going to build them and how fast are you going to drive on these things? But somehow or other, they became the main highways in our country.
It has to do with density of energy. You don't have it in solar panels. You do not have it in windmills, and it's that simple. And you got the cart way before the horse. Yeah, it can happen. Flying to Mars can go too, but you'll be killed by radiation. And people say, well, by some time you'll be able to come take care of that too. But I wouldn't want to fly there now.
Greg, comment.
Okay, two things. I would imagine as these photovoltaic cells get introduced, they're working on stuff to charge it more and to last longer, number one. Number two is on those cars. Boy, I'm just mystified. I just don't really understand. My whole thing is about the charging and the distance. And I don't want to pay a couple $100,000 just to drive to Reno to gamble.
There you go. Thanks, Greg. Wayne, your final comment, the final comment of the day.
Okay. I live in the Chicago area, and over 3 years ago, I leased a Tesla Model S.
Oh,
and at that point, it had a 75 kilowatt battery. They're all now, the Model S's all have 100, but it was rated at 254 miles. The most I ever drove on a single charge, when I charged it up to 100%, I went about 180 miles. And there's always this problem of worrying about where you're going to charge. Yeah, sure, it shows you on the map, on the screen where you can charge. But the other nice thing was I had free supercharging for the life of the car. So it didn't cost me at the superchargers. But most of the time I drove it around town. I had one of the 240 volt connectors in my garage. So I charged it there. But it's this range anxiety. So anyway, when my lease was up in June, I ended up buying out the lease, sold the car, and I ended up buying a Toyota RAV4 hybrid plug-in. And then on that, I can drive around 50 miles on all electric, and I can go about 500 miles on gas. And I don't have to worry about range anxiety. I can, get, and I think this is a solution to this thing. All electric is not going to work. There's just, people are, that's a dream. It's just not going to happen in our lifetime. I can tell you that.
Thanks so much. I concur entirely with you. That's the car that we are looking at, and there's a 3-year wait to get one. So
I was very.
Can I buy yours? Do you want to sell yours?
No, I was very fortunate. I ended up paying $15,000 over MSRP.
Oh,
but
really?
the thing was, when I bought out my Toyota lease, I was able to sell it for $15,000 more than what I paid.
All right.
So, but right now, yeah, the Toyota RAV4s, with the primes, they're very difficult to find. I don't know how I lucked out, but I got it within a month of when I signed up. And if you look, you can find that people are waiting forever for them. And the other thing was, I happened to get it before the $7,500 rebate expired in August. So I got mine the end of July. So I was able to get it before that. So I've got that $7,500 rebate that I can pull out for my income tax come this next year.
Just make sure, Wayne, you keep that car locked up, because it's I would imagine there's some bad guys out there looking for that car.
Oh my God. I'm on Facebook groups with that RAV4, and it's unbelievable. All the stories that you hear about people having problems and waiting, and but I think the plug-in hybrids are the solution. The other nice thing was I bought an adapter that fit on the end of my Tesla plug in the garage, and it plugs right into my RAV4. So for, I don't know, $75 or whatever it was, I was able to buy an adapter that fit.
All right,
and
listen, thanks so much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks so much. Carl, we've got to run. Sorry, I'm going to hold off on that thought for next week. We've got to run because we're at 3 minutes over. Want to thank everyone for coming today and wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family, drive safely. Don't eat too much turkey, but have a lot of fun. And we will see everybody again next week for another great show. Don't forget, we will be doing our Thursday show. If you're just sort of vegging out and you don't know what to do on Thursday, come and listen to the show, and we'll be there. Anyway, hopefully you all have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see everyone soon. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.